Hello friends, here I am again, on the YouTube channel. It's me, your host Jan. Welcome back to Football Therapy. I hope you're doing well. Really do hope that this is Chelsea News, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said, giving you my thoughts, feelings, opinions on it, but as always, more importantly, asking for yours. Disclaimer, I'm in a lot of pain. I've got a stiff neck. No, I haven't got a Viagra caught in there. I've slept funny and I went to go see a sports masseur. He butchered me and I'm in a lot of pain and, yeah. Ow, even just doing that. So, if I ever, wince or start crying, break down in tears, that's why. Yeah, man, so welcome on back. Today we're discussing a few things. Stuff with Hato and Simmons, of course. They're the two transfers we're trying to get over the line. But also outgoings, and also in this video, I wanted to talk about at the end of this video, I wanted to talk about who is going to be our starting striker. Because a lot of people are understandably all very high on Joao Pedro. Looked very good in the Club World Cup. Well, incredibly good, really. The way he was just sort of, parachuted in from a Brazilian beach and just immediately cooked. Looks like he's got a good chemistry with Palmer as well, which really is essential to making Chelsea successful. Yes, so possibly, but I feel like we cannot sleep on Liam Delap. And Jackson has broadly been good for us. We're going to get into all of that today. So thank you for joining me. Excuse me. Strap in. Strap in to the channel. Thank you for... Oh, that is the wrong widget. That's the second channel. Clearly, my painkillers are kicking in. Speech will leave me and ability to navigate the stream deck. This is what I want to do. Please do consider liking and subscribing to Football Therapy. We're getting ever closer to that 200,000 subscriber mark, which is nothing short of a beautiful thing. So yeah, man, thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And if you do choose to subscribe, you should hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Yeah. Right. Cool. So, Wagwan with Hato. Well, Romano, big transfer superstar influencer, the Tutto Bene, here we go guy. Chelsea wants to spend £34 million, which I believe is 40 million euros, on Hato. But Ajax wants more. Those greedy little goblins. The negotiation is ongoing. The player wants to go and has told Ajax the Premier League is his dream. Chelsea feels strong in this story. My feeling is the deal happens, says Romano. Well, I must say, my feeling is also the deal happens because we've already reacted to reports that he's agreed personal terms with Chelsea, and as a 19-year-old playing in the Dutch league, I never thought that would have been an issue considering the finances over here comparatively. I do think it's a priority signing. We've gone over it a few times. We've looked at really positive athleticism stats and looked at really positive passing stats from the young player, from the young Dutch international. Yes, I wonder how it's going to... Because he's not coming in to start. That's, or certainly immediately, is he? That's the issue. He'll know that. He's accepted that. So how much do Chelsea pay for a rotational backup deputy? That's the question. I imagine quite a lot because Cucurella is so heavily relied on, and it's not like bringing in... it just feels like such an important signing for me. So we'll see what happens. I wonder if that £34 million becomes £38 million and we just give them a little bit more add-ons. Maybe that's total package as well. So maybe that's £30 million up front and £4 million in add-ons. Maybe that becomes £34 million like we want to spend, but we offer them £6 million in add-ons, taking it up to £40 million. I reckon a deal does get done for Yorel Hato. Oh yeah, so he's of course not the only Netherlands international that we are trying to get over the line. Chelsea fans across the globe are very excited about the prospect of completing Xavi Simmons. Romano also gave an update on this, saying contracts are ongoing between Chelsea and RB Leipzig. with separate conversations for Xavi Simmons and Carney Chukwuemeka, of course, the young Chelsea midfielder, that he would prefer to go to Borussia Dortmund, but there's speculation that he would also be happy to go to Leipzig, even if Borussia Dortmund is his preference. Leipzig are, of course, maybe not as... They're not as big a club, of course, than Dortmund, but maybe they're not as good as a developmental platform, which Dortmund has been for young English players. Of course, the two high-profile ones being Jadon Sancho. Well, three. You could say Jadon Sancho, Jude Bellingham, Jamie Gittins, now of Chelsea. And indeed, the latest to go, though, Joe Bellingham as well. So you can understand why Carney would, preference and hope for that move. Developmentally, it's a great transfer, really, for him. But he's a wanted man, so Chelsea would probably get that over the line with Leipzig. Separate deals being discussed. But what's going on with Xavi Simmons? Because we've already seen headlines and articles suggesting that Chelsea is a dream for him. He grew up watching Chelsea, yada, 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 all the PR stuff. And Romano finally offers the update on the transfer of Xavi Simmons, saying Chelsea and Leipzig are now in advanced talks for Xavi Simmons. Club negotiations are progressing well. There is still work to do, but they are heading in a positive direction. He wants the Chelsea project. Personal terms also advanced. So unlike Yorel Hato, personal terms haven't been agreed for Simmons of Chelsea, but by all accounts, what we're seeing, what we are reading here, essentially suggests that it shouldn't be a problem. Now, interestingly as well, there's different reports. A guy, Philipp Hinz, Sky Sports Deutschland in Germany, saying actually there's no official bid on the table yet for Xavi Simmons. So it's almost like there's this casual dialogue between Chelsea and Leipzig, and indeed, seemingly across all modern football, oh, my neck, bro. They don't put a official bid on the table until they know they're talking in the same ballpark. So that's kind of fine. Leipzig continue to demand a total package of £60 million, including add-ons. Which, if that includes add-ons, considering the profile of player, that seems not too unreasonable. So you could, again, let's speculate. Let's play the speculation game here. You could do £52 million up front and then £8 million in add-ons. It doesn't seem crazy to me. So the 52, that's the total package we sold Noni Madueke for. And if, the Chelsea hierarchy, the sporting directors, the data analysts, the coaching staff, the gaffer, Enzo Maresca says, yeah, he's the guy. He can play in this pocket we want. He can make Chelsea better. Go get him. Then, I think, that wouldn't be a bad deal at all. I imagine Chelsea as negotiators would try and get that down a little bit still. So maybe it's, maybe it becomes, maybe they can do a 5 million thing. So it's a 55 million total package, 50 up front, 5 in add-ons. To me, these sound like pretty reasonable numbers for Xavi Simmons. Right. And then finally, before we speak about the strikers, I do want to give you an update from Ben Jacobs regarding Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, who's won many of the hearts of Chelsea fans. Of course, we bought him for 30 million quid. There was rumours that it wasn't a Maresca target, despite him being the best player under Maresca playing for Leicester when they won the championship. That there was people speculating that it was a misguided gift from the sporting directors. Look, we got you your favourite shiny toy from last year, when, maybe that money could have been spent better elsewhere. But it turned out he was a useful player. Of course, he was never really a starter. I think if he did start some games of note, it wasn't many. But he was turned to in important games as a closer, which is significant, guys. That is significant. He did start some games, cup games, lots of Conference League games. He played loads of Conference League games, scored some good goals. I seem to remember he scored one amazing, Eden Hazard-esque goal in some competition somewhere. May have been against Farmers, forgive me, I've forgotten. But, you know, a really good trainer, a really good citizen, a great guy. You hear him interviewed, he speaks very well, he speaks professionally, he's backing himself, but he's respectful, he's been doing absolutely the right thing, and he's been repaid in terms of his move from Chelsea. Of course, he lifted the championship trophy being the best player for Leicester. Comes to Chelsea, fine, he's not like the go-to guy in the Premier League to help them fight for top four. But he was one of the go-to guys in the trophies that Chelsea won in the Conference League and the Club World Cup. I'm looking at a picture of him now holding the Club World Cup with his medal in his mouth. He can have those medals, those trophies, well, he can have the medals. He can't take all the trophies, but he can feel like I was a part of that. I was an important part of that. I wasn't just some sort of token player thrown in here and there. So I don't think he'll regret coming to Chelsea. But Fulham have made a formal approach to sign Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall from Chelsea. This is wild. This reminds me of when we were asking for 70 million for Nkunku after he had a relatively disastrous Chelsea career. They're asking for over the 30 million pounds Chelsea paid to Leicester. Now, some of you might be saying, yeah, look, he's mid-20s, he's won a couple of trophies, why not? It's tricky because it's a lot of money, 30 million quid. For, say, like a Fulham, for a player that, yeah, again, I thought we'd try and sell them for 20 or something like that. But to ask for a profit for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, I think is a little bit cheeky. I wonder if that's just a briefing and it's just saying we want over 30 to try and get the 30 that we originally paid. Of course, because he would have spent a year, it would be a slight book profit, the 30. But I don't necessarily see it happening. If we get 30 million quid for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, jobs are good, mate. Especially with like other midfielders coming into the fold. Midfielders that can play in attacking pockets, like of course Xavi Simmons, and Xavi Simmons can be like quite a functional player anyway. Esteval can play in a pocket. Andre Santos, you can sell Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall possibly to Fulham. Fulham are also looking at Raheem Sterling. I've been saying it. If it was a club in London, it would be Fulham. Chelsea would have to subsidise a significant portion of his wages. Unsurprisingly, he's on £300,000 a week. I can't imagine they'd spend. They might do a third of that. I don't know if Chelsea would say, yeah, we'll pay 200k a week for you to play at Fulham. Maybe they will. Obviously, they can't. He's just not going to be part of the project. We know that. It's done. It's not happening. So Chelsea will probably have to just keep paying for that problem, unless he accepts Turkey. Maybe he does find a way to go to Naples. And takes a big pay cut, and they get him for a very cheap fee, and yada yada yada. We'll see what happens. But with the Bayer Leverkusen news as well, the positive is it does seem like there's a market for Raheem Sterling. It's not going to be a good transfer for us. It objectively can't be because of how things have gone with Raz over the last 3 odd years or however long it's been. But I feel a little bit more comforted that there's a market for him. The more concerns now are your Ben Chilwells and stuff, but of course we'll cover that as it develops. Alright, so I do want to speak about strikers, guys, because I was thinking about this, and when I think about stuff, I want to talk about it on my YouTube channel. João Pedro looks very exciting. He does. He looks like he did everything we want from a Brazilian attacker. He scored 3 goals in as many games, including a really good cameo off the bench where he looked dynamic in his debut, his full debut, and finally scored. Great goals as well. 2 goals against his former club, Fluminense, and then a lovely little lob in the final against Donnarumma, of all people, Paris Saint-Germain. And then did was it the Ronaldinho dance? But it's proper Yoga Bonito, Samba boy, super. It's what you want from a Brazilian attacker signing, don't you? So it's easy to get terribly excited. But we need to remember, Delap came on and forced an amazing save from Donnarumma from his first action. I wonder, once the Premier League gets going, if we're going to see a split of these guys. Because of course you could see Delap and João Pedro play together. I think they'll be less and less likely, especially if we get Xavi Simmons, who will be coming to try and start games. Some big players are going to miss out on this Chelsea starting 11, I tell you. But rightly, everyone's excited about João Pedro. But I just think we shouldn't sleep on Liam Delap. He's Chelsea's number 9. He's an absolute fighter. He's a warrior. Maresca loves Delap. Let's not forget that. Even when we were playing him against Ipswich, Maresca was very keen to wax lyrical about his former striker and Delap. And you know, it's even though the chemistry between Joao Pedro and Cole Palmer looks really delightful, and anything that can get the best out of Cole Palmer is worth its weight in gold, essentially. But we know Palmer and Delap have a good understanding as well. So I think it's really, really open. And look, I know we saw that clip of Palmer shouting at Jackson, and Jackson's gone through a difficult time with the red cards. There was a time when the link-up between Jackson and Palmer was profound. Of course, this was largely under Pochettino, but a little bit under Maresca as well. And they've got a really good understanding as well. So it's all open. It's all open. Of course, Jackson could still be sold. And if he is, that's a story I'll cover here as quickly as I can on the channel. But I think it's so intriguing because, you know, we just don't know how we're going to set up now with Joao Pedro, Palmer, Jackson, Delap, Gittins, Neto, Stevao, eventually, probably not straight away, probably Xavi, Simmons. Do you know what I mean? Like, where's everyone going to go? So I wanted to just basically initiate that conversation and open up in the comment section. So please do leave your thoughts down there, my friends. Again, a gentle reminder to subscribe if you're yet to do so we can get over that 200,000 sub mark. That would be wonderful. Yeah, man, keep it locked. I hope to see you back here soon. Peace.